Assalamu alaikum. This is video 4. Anyway, so whether you like it or not, whether you get angry or not, I can't even apologize for it, and I won't even apologize for your anger. If you're angry, don't be angry. Go do your research, do your study, prove that what you believe is right to yourself. Don't just believe it because your mother said it. Don't believe it because your father said it. Don't believe it because your sister, your church, your pastor, your preacher, or whoever said it. Don't believe it because I say it. Go research it and see who's right or wrong, me or you, and let's see. And you know what? I guarantee it's going to be you. I'm confident beyond a shadow of a doubt it's going to be you, and you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised, and you'll become pissed too, because you'll be just as bothered by it as I was to learn that I was growing up being deceived. Okay? So that's why I'm here to tell you, because not only do I want to, kind of help myself, from this deception, but the point is we got to work together. Muslims, Christians, and Jews. We got to become one. We got to network. Believers. We got to network like, and I'm not talking about just Christians, Muslims, and Jews. I'm saying believers. We got to work together, and we got to network like the earth angels that we were created to be. We got to network. We got to come together, black and white, the African family. We got to come together, okay, and stop this classism, racism, all that stuff. Because they're tearing the world apart to that. Okay. This is just one page. Wow. Okay. So they're fueling the commercial world, right? Okay. Okay. So the organization of Romulus is nothing but a racketeer organization. They're just racketeers. Okay. Luciferian racketeers, satanic racketeers. And I don't even like to say satanic because satanic refers to Saturn, the planet Saturn, and the planet Saturn is not good unless we're going to rename the planet from the name Saturn. Okay, but they took that name Saturn because they want that powerful Saturnian energy, which is we said it represents the mother, right? Feminine energy, right? And that's why they suppress the females and tell you, oh, the male is the king of the house, and it's not true. He may be the head of the house, but he's not the head of he's not the head of the body. The head of the body is a woman. So it's the queen of the house. We have the queen, the king, and then the children, right? And the king is the head, and he controls the house. I mean, not controls the house, but he controls the spiritual aspect of the family. Okay, he's supposed to know the word. He's supposed to be embedded in the word, right? And then the female, she implements the word among his body. And that's why she can interact between the man and the female. She's like the mediator, okay? She mediates between the spiritual and the physical domain, okay? And that's why the jinn try to get into her, because she's that mediator. She's like that neutral being, and that's why even if you go into her DNA, the nucleus of the DNA, or not the nucleus of the DNA, but you go into the nucleus of the atom, you'll find, I forget what they're called, they're particles. I forget what they're called, the particles of an atom. But the particles of an atom, there's two positive parts and then there's a negative part. That's what makes up the male atom aspect of the atom. And then the female aspect of the atom has two negative particles and then one positive, and that will make up the female. So she's neutral. You see what I'm saying? To the spiritual and the physical. Okay, and she gives birth to the body, so therefore she's more in harmony with the body. So she delivers the word to the body. But when the man, the commercial world, try to tell you he's king of the house, he's king of the castle, when in reality he may be head with the spiritual head, and that's where the clashing comes in, when he tries to dominate and take control of the house and try to tell the woman what to do and all this kind of. When the woman should know the word, and both should know the word, right? And they both and she being able to follow the word, okay, and he can teach her the word if she doesn't know the word. That's why Muslim women can marry only Muslim men, because they should know the word, and then Muslim men can marry whatever kind of woman they want. Okay, and I don't have a problem with that. So don't go talking about women, Muslim women are oppressed. No, it's the way Allah designed it, and I accept it. It's the way my creation was designed, so I accept it. Okay, so so a Muslim man can marry whatever kind of woman, but a Muslim woman can't, because the man has to have the word, okay, because he's the spiritual head, and then she gives that to her body. Well, that's why you have the king and the queen, the spiritual head, and just like that. Remember I told you how they counterfeit? Okay, like in the family, they counterfeit it on a global level. Okay, they become the spiritual father, the spiritual head, and then the physical, the queen, the imposterous queen, because she ain't the queen, I'm the queen. Elizabeth, which spells represent El Israel, which represents Bet, house, represents Isis, but she don't have the Ra in there, just Isis, representing Isis, Bet, house of Isis. She don't represent the Isis. She can represent it as a princess, but she can't represent it as a queen. She got to have melon to do that. She got to be the real deal to do that. And and I told you I have the credentials, the spiritual credentials. She don't have that. Okay, she don't have that. So she don't have no power. She's imposter. She's a pseudo. She's a facade. She's not no queen. Okay, alhamdulillah, I am. I am. All praises be to Allah. She can't act on the spiritual plane. She can't call anything into being. She don't have that power. All praises be to Allah. I do. Okay? And I ain't too ashamed to say that. Okay? So she's sitting on the throne fooling y'all with all that diamonds and all that stuff. She's fooling you. Okay? It's just stolen booty. Okay, to make her look like she got some power, but diamonds don't make you powerful. Okay, that just make it look like her crown. Her crown chakra ain't open. Just because she knows some stuff, just because the jinn done told her some stuff, don't make her crown open. Okay, you got to have the crown. The crown chakra gotta be open. Okay, and hers ain't open. Else, if her crown chakra was open, she would be trying to save humanity, not take its life. Her job is to guide the body into wars and starvation and all that kind of stuff. That's her game. Okay, and give birth to so-called their holy son, right? Okay, so as we said, they're a gang of racketeers. So he's supposed to represent the spiritual father. She's supposed to represent the holy mother, and then the holy son, the body, right? So that makes her control the body. She tells the son what to do as she gets the word from the holy father, which is supposed to be the Vatican. Okay, so they're Catholic. They still connected. They only got separate when Henry VIII wanted divorce from his wife, which was Spanish, right? And then he created the Anglican Church. But is the Anglican Church telling you anything? You have any preachers telling you anything about your pineal gland and sacred geometry and all this kind of? It's not sacred geometry. It's sacred geometry because they can't change. It's natural science, right? They tell you about natural science? No, they ain't telling you about that. They're only telling you about, what the Neanderthals tell them that they want you to know, so that they can keep control of you. So you better watch that. Okay, you want the truth about Christianity? Okay, you go do some of your history, your spiritual history. Okay, read Barnabas. That video I told you about Barnabas, because I read, mashallah, I read that book too. So, and I read about Barnabas. So you do read what Barnabas had to say. Barnabas knew Prophet Isa, the one born of a virgin. He was one of the apostles of Prophet born of a virgin. Paul was not. Paul did not know him. Paul and Barnabas fell out because when Paul tried to go to the apostles and teach them a new way, the apostles rejected Paul. And so Paul left the apostles, and that's when he started out on the road to Damascus, and that's when they say he was blinded by the light and fell off his donkey and was blinded, right? Well, Paul did not know the prophet. Paul came up with his own philosophies using what he learned about what the prophet said and what he knew about this Neanderthal religion stuff. Okay, this Egyptian Romans not Catholicism, because Catholicism didn't exist at that time, but what he knew about the ancient pagan religions of Isis and Osiris and all that kind of stuff, because that's the only paganism that's ever existed, and that's what still exists. Okay, so it's gone through and taken many morphs, but that's still the only paganism that exists. You only have two religions: believers, the creation, and the religion of the evolutionists. That's two religions. Okay, the religion of the evolutionists, the Anunnaki, the Neanderthals, and all these empires and all that, Isis and Osiris and all that's the religion of the Neanderthals. Okay, you do your history, do your spiritual history. Religion has history. You may think it's so big and it's so broad and don't have no history. It does. You just have to do your research. And your soul, it's your soul, so you need to do it for yourself and for your children. Okay? So they corrupt you through religion. Okay? And or through trying to teach these Neanderthals. And they're Neanderthals. You're going to let them teach you your religion? They're going to teach you from their perspective. Oh, about Paul. So Paul knew the pagan religion, so he tried to combine them, and he went into Rome. Okay, he went back into Rome, which was Turkey, part of Turkey. Okay, because he was half Turkish and he was half Hebrew. Okay, because it says he was half Jewish. Okay, but Hebrew was Jew at that time, because there is no Jew as a nationality. No, it's Jew as a religion. That's what it is. It's a Hebrew Jew, Egyptian Jew. It's all kind of, let's say, European Jew. It's a religion, right? So he was Jewish, and his religion was Jewish and paganism. So he believed both. His mother was of Jewish breeding, and his father was of Turkish or Roman breeding. He was a Roman citizen, right? So he tried to combine the religion. He tried to go back and teach the apostles that. The apostles rejected it, and so he went off by himself, and that's what you got him on the road to Damascus with that religion, that hybrid religion, and teaching it all through Europe. And that's what took off in Europe, and that's what took off in among European Christianity, and that's what took off with Constantine. That's what took off with Constantine. And that's what created the Catholic Church. Okay, that's where you got in. It was first called the Pauline Church, and it came off. Then it became the Catholic Church when the two divided, and then you had let's say the East and the West Church, the Orthodox Christianity, which was based upon Paul, and then you had the Pauline, and I mean the Church of Rome, which is the Universal Church, the Holy See, and that's generally been controlled by other Europeans. Okay, Neanderthals. And I don't mean all Europeans are Neanderthal. I don't mean because they're white they Neanderthal. No, they're not. Just because they got some brown Neanderthals too, right? Or hued Neanderthals. But the point is, you know, Paul, you look at Barnabas. If you want to study Christianity from a pure perspective, look at Barnabas. Look at the books of Barnabas, because that's one of the best books for Christianity, the book of Barnabas. Okay? It will give you some good information, very good information about the life of prophet born of a virgin. Okay, because I'm not trying to diss your Christianity. I'm not trying to do that, because Islam teaches me to respect all religions, all faith, but except Satanism, except Iblis. Okay, that bullcrap. I don't respect that. But look to your the book of Barnabas, because I love Christians too, my Christian brothers, just like I love my white African brothers. I love them too, and sisters. Okay, there were one family, one spiritual family, and one family. We were all created, and the breath of life was blown into all of us humans. Okay, whether we're Christian, Jewish, whatever believer we are. Okay. We just got to get back to the purity of that, the pure understanding of our spiritual heritage. Okay? So, as I said, so that's what that was about Paul. Okay? And them deceiving you with the racketeers, the spiritual racketeers, mobsters. Okay? Okay, they want to profit off your soul. But the best way to get the profit off your soul is to take away the power of your spirituality, so then you have no spiritual defense. Okay? So they want to profit off the soul of humanity. Okay? And it's what? And once they do profit off the soul, they call it collateral damage, right? Collateral, right? Collateral in the bank. Bondage, because now they're in bondage. Once they take away the spiritual power, they can put the person in spiritual bondage, right? And once they do take away spiritual bondage, now they can control the body, right? Okay. Now, and so once they do that, okay, now they have gained control over one's spiritual power, right? And the construction of an aid that the Africans may aid them in the construction of the Romulus's evil empire for his spiritual father, right? Okay, his spiritual father, Moloch, Baal, or all are, of the gods or dogs of the kingdom of Romulus, right? Called what? Babylon, which represented by the 3 crowned head Gogs and Magogs, right? Which is Mother Gog and Father Gog. Okay? Okay. And they hate women because what? They hate women. They don't hate just black and beautiful, the richly hued woman. No, they hate her the most because she represents the archetype, right? But they hate all women because what? Because we're real. Their mother was a bitch. Their mother was a dog. She was composed of what? The flesh of man and the spit of Satan and the spirit of Satan, right? And it may sound like I'm talking all this bizarre. It sounds like that. It sounds like that to me. But hey, the fact of the matter is, there's evidence to substantiate this. There's natural science, natural history, spiritual history to substantiate it. And if that's the case, and it sounds pretty bizarre, then what does that tell you about what you've been taught and the way you need to think? And where you need to go to grow, to open that crown chakra, and how bad you need to open that pineal gland so you can see, right? Okay, so it says this is why the commercial impure aspect of the market, it is methodically controlled and dominated to reflect the demonic spirituality of Rome or the Vatican, as it's used through its commercial banking system, right? As it's set up through its commercial banking system and the system of borrowing and lending and enterprise and all this kind of stuff, and those commercial multinational commercial markets, and abiding by its universal codes and all this kind of stuff, because all this central banking and all this money, right, is being whereby money was originally supposed to be created so that man could, and it wasn't even money, but yeah, money so that man could trade with his brothers, right? Trade to facilitate trading, whereby it would be easier, right, to implement. So through the use of money, right? But through the use of money, they take all the gold and use it to do what? To build to channel or harness the energy, right? So they can methodically control man, right? So they use and build a world or a commercial world or artificial world to reflect nature, okay, by bringing in all those, using all the symbols and divine spiritual symbols to represent their world and what they think is going to protect it, and then turn around and tell you don't believe in that stuff. You just stay holy like we tell you to and do what we tell you to, and you'll be all right. You can get to heaven off of what we tell you, okay? Now, so it says so they can control and dominate, okay? So they use this. Wait, what did I say? Okay, what did I say? So, okay, so they use it to commercially control every aspect of the commercial market. It's methodically controlled and dominated to reflect the demonic spirit. So that's what their god is used for. That's who the god of their world, and every aspect of their world is and every symbol in their world is used to reflect the demonic spirit. Demonic spiritually of their world, which is controlled by Romulus, by Rome, right? Okay, and it's referred to as what? The New World Order. The commercial world is the New World Order. That's the commercial world order, the secular world order. That's what they mean by commercial, the New World Order, a secular world order, a world without the natural God of that natural world. A new world order with a new God, a dog, and Anubis, okay? Anubis. The god Anubis is the god of the commercial world, right? It's their Baal, it's their Moloch, it's their bull, it's their, it's their god, the beast, Okay? Okay? The one who's composed of what? The flesh of man and the spit of Satan and the spirit of Satan, of Iblis, right? Okay, so that's referred to as a New World Order. Okay, now, while Rome represents the nation of Romulus, who is the spiritual father of Rome, thus Romulus, or Helos, is referred to as Saturn. See, Romulus is supposed to reflect Saturn, the spiritual father, but he's also to reflect Osiris, okay? And any other empire that came to be also had to pay tribute to Osiris. They had to represent Osiris, the spiritual god, the one who represents the head, the one who represents the word, the one who represents the logos, or the logic, or the reasoning, or the philosophy, okay? The intelligence, the inspiration. That's what the spiritual father represents, okay? And that's what the father is supposed to represent in the household. So if it's a single household, then the mother has to play the role of the spiritual fatherhead. And if she's playing that role, then see what I'm saying? Then that's why marriage is important. Okay, that's why this proper structure of the family is important. So you'll have all those elements of nature in your household. So it will be in balance. Okay, it won't be out of balance. That's why the mother doesn't need to play the role of the father, and the father don't need to play the role of the mother. It needs to be balanced. It needs to be a mother and a father, as it is in nature. The sun represents the masculine and feminine energies. The sun represents the the masculine, direct energy. The Saturn represents feminine energy, electromagnetic energy. Okay, softer energy. The direct energy is masculine energy. Okay, that's why when women get too hard, they become direct energy, like masculine energy. Okay, and you got to maintain your sensitivity. That's feminine energy. Okay, that's why you want to get your. Anyway, we'll move on. Okay, so he represents Romulus represents the spiritual father. Okay, thus Romulus Helos represents the female energy, and we'll talk about why he represents the female energy, because remember when they did that hybrid stuff, that genetic manipulation, creating the sons going into the daughters, well, they used the feminine, the woman, they breeded her with the sons of daughters, right? And so since that was a spiritual breeding, and so the spiritual breeding, the so-called father, the word don't have a body, right? But the word came flesh, right? The word was made flesh, right? So then that's symbolic of the spiritual head, okay, mating with the female. So they're trying to do, they're doing that. They're trying to reenact that, right? So if the spiritual mated with the female, then the body's going to be a female, right? It's going to be a male, but it's going to be a predominantly female energy. Okay, because remember, Satan has no energy, so he's gonna, that energy that's in the female is still going to be dominant. Okay, but it's going to come out male. The being is going to come out male, because what? We got the dog, that energy of Satan, which is masculine, right? So it's going to, the child's going to come out male, but it's going to have female energy. So now you're going to have that hybrid male. He's going to be male, but it's going to have female electromagnetic energy. So it's going to seem like he's a male body, but female in a male body. Okay? And that's reenacted with Hermes and Aphrodite. And that's where they say you get the hermaphrodite. Her for Hermes, Aphrodite, or Aphrodite, hermaphrodite, from Aphrodite, the woman, and then Hermes, the male, which represents Mercury. But then you get the Baphomet. The Baphomet is representative of the hermaphrodite, half male, and he half. Well, no, we won't go that with the Baphomet yet, because that goes back to Neanderthal. But the hermaphrodite is represented. Well, yeah, it's represented by the Baphomet. The female up top, male up in the bottom. So male and female, but also from the the dog, right? Because he's half animal at the bottom, right? Right. So you got the Baphomet, half man and half female, but also the spirit of the Iblis. Okay? So it's all mixed up in there. So you can see how all this stuff comes together, but it's out of one origin, one root. It's just symbolized differently, but it's all going back to the same thing. Okay? So we said so if Romulus represents the spiritual father, he's representing the head, the energy, the logos, right? So he has no physical body. So he's all that energy, all that body's got to come from a woman. So you had the pharaohs back in the day when their body shapes were very feminine with the hips and they looked very feminine because they only had come from the spiritual body. And the black body is supposed, the female body is supposed to be so strong, and it has the highest degree of testosterone, okay, of all the females, okay. So therefore, her body's strong enough to produce a body, to reproduce a body of its own. Just like I wrote, Prophet Miriam, when the spirit came upon her. When Allah, and I posted that video too, when the spirit came upon her, not the spirit of Allah, but Allah sent a spirit to her, okay, and by which she conceived a child, and without the aid of a man. Well, that's what Iblis tried to do too, but his spirit, because of his spirit, it has no power, and he couldn't do that, so he just manipulated the power, the spirit of the woman. That's why the sons of that dog, Anubis, God, or devil, went into the woman, right, and mated, and then had what, sons, right? And but first they had giants and all this kind of stuff, but then they learned to perfect the art and kind of balance it out and made them with dogs and all this other kind of stuff, right? But I think mating with dogs was one thing, but I also think that they made it when they had sons of let's say Anubis, okay. When they had sons of Iblis, let's put it that way, when the women had sons of Iblis, okay, and Alexander the Great is supposed to be another representation of this, when his mother had intercourse with a snake, and the snake's supposed to represent Iblis too, as it represented in the garden, right? So this hybrid people, right? So because he has no body, he has to use a female's body, right? So it's only going to come out that it's female body, it's of the female energy, right? So they're going to come out, as I said, female-like. But, and I think when they had them, that they made it, you know, when they had more than one, let's put it this way, they made it with more than women, so they made them together, right? But they're still going to be like female spirits inside of what looks like a male body, right? Because it's predominantly of the female electromagnetic energy, that's female. The female body, that's female, okay. But the only thing is the spirit itself is male. So when they have a male, it's going to be predominantly female, and that's where you get that from, okay. And all of this is documented, so I'm not just talking bullshit. I'm not just talking stuff out of my head or conspiracy theory and all this. No, I post videos for everyone to keep up with, so that they can take notes from and hopefully have reference to when we have these moonlight conversations. Okay? So Romulus represented the spiritual head. All empires, all of them represent the spiritual head of Ra. And Ra represents, supposed to represent the masculine energy, right? But the Godhead of the spiritual energy, right? Okay, and just like to demonstrate this further, even going down to the time of Alexander, when Alexander, after he denied his father, and I forget his father's name, but he denied his father. You can research this. He denied his father and said Ra was his father, and that's why he was buried in Egypt. And even you had coins where Alexander put the ram's horns on his head to represent he was close to Ram, he was related to Ra. And Rome really means Ra, and they just put the E on it to hide it. It means ram, and Romulus, Ram, okay, of the ram, okay. So that's what Rome really means. Okay, but anyway, we'll move on. So, so Romulus represents Helios, which represents Saturn, which represents the fatherhead, or the ethos, not the ethos, but the ethereal. We talked about the ethereal realm, okay? The head, the realm of God, the realm of logos, the realm of words, the realm of the word, the philosophy, right? Brotherly, and what do we say? Brotherly love, philosophy, the word of man, okay? The knowledge of man, the school of man, the schools of man, the thought of man, okay, because that's what the philos means of the word. The philos of the word means man, brother, which means masculine, which means brother, okay, man, okay, or which means penis. The represents what, the phallus. It should be fallacy, or no, it's philosophy, osophy, so it should be phallus, osophy, the study of penis, okay. Okay, okay, but anyway, but I may not know understand, you're talking about what it means about osophy, that part about, but a phallus, certainly, the first part of the word represents a phallus, represents man, okay? Okay, so, but notice how Romulus is representing the female energy. Okay, so Romulus represents Saturn, which supposed to represent Satan. Remember, I told you when the universe was cleansed, it cleansed Saturn because Satan likes to claim Saturn. Okay, so he represented the head of the first head of the three Godhead, right, of the dog Trinity, which represents, as I said, the unholy Trinity. Okay, the three heads of the dog head. Okay, which is supposed to be the three aspects of God, okay, the nation of men, okay, okay, the second dog crown head, let me see, okay, so we're going to go to video 5, Salam Alaikum.